Bullet Train 2022. Bullet Train was the first movie of 2022 I was really looking forward to seeing based on the trailer alone, because I'm really disappointed by Brad Pitt, and my go-to genre of movies are somewhat convoluted action flicks. When I want to be entertained, I want just that, and honestly this movie delivered. The premise is convoluted, very convoluted, in that several assassins in the goings-on and their assassin doings manage to bring together a string of events, unbeknownst to them, that leads to a vicious gang leader, the White Death, losing his wife. To avenge her, he sets in motion a plan to hire all of the known assassins responsible. Ladybug, a snatch and grab expert going through therapy and trying to work on himself, is hired to snatch a suitcase in place of an assassin known as Carter, who's called out sick. The suitcase in question is being guarded by two other assassins, the twins, who go by Tangerine and Lemon. They've been hired to retrieve the White Death's son from the Triad and guard him and the ransom on the train back to Kyoto. This son is also a target of yet another assassin known as the Hornet. Meanwhile, the Wolf, a Mexican killer out to avenge a hit that killed his wife and his entire gang on his wedding day, is given a contract to kill the person responsible, the Hornet. When he boards a train, he runs into Ladybug, who he also blames for ruining his life as he was there at the wedding and caused the Wolf to be separated from the party when they were all murdered. All of these assassins are at cross purposes, and of course, chaos ensues. While all of this is happening, the various assassins, with their conflicting missions leading to death and mayhem, the White Death's daughter, the Prince, in an effort to show that she's never seen or appreciated, is busy setting a trap to kill her father. She entangles a man into the plot by pushing this man's son off of a roof, and this is the tragedy that opens the movie actually, and this in turn brings the grandfather of this child onto the train. This grandfather, out to protect his family, realizes fate has shined upon him by putting him in the path of the White Death, who killed his wife many years prior. More chaos ensues, and in the end, a lot of people die. It turns out Ladybug is on the train for the wrong reasons according to the White Death, and isn't really the intended target of the White Death's plan, and more people die. Overall, I enjoyed this movie because it was fun and somewhat ridiculous, not taking itself too seriously at points, and the acting was enjoyable from the entire cast. If you walk out of the movie not at least liking Tangerine and Lemon, there's probably something wrong with you. My one real complaint when I walked into the theater is that some of the premise failed for me and might have been savable with some dialogue. I mean, it's mostly a world-building issue, but let's get into it. Essentially, towards the end of the movie, the White Death buys out every seat on the train as he's coming down to finish the plan he set in motion. And this explains why there are no passengers on the train from this point in the movie forward, assassins notwithstanding. But the problem is that throughout the movie, all of the passengers and even the crew outside of a few scenes were just set decorations. Ladybug and Lemon get into a scuffle, which is in the trailer on the quiet car, and nobody aside from one annoyed other woman notices them fighting. Nobody in the train hears any explosions or gunshots or fighting or glass breaking or damage happening or just about anything. Nobody notices when the emergency door is blown off of the train's engine. The snack girl doesn't notice that Tangerine has put his fist through cabinets and shelving, or that there's broken glass in at least 3 cars until she's finally knocked out by the Hornet halfway through the film. The ticket taker? Yeah, he doesn't notice anything. Had the White Death bought out the entire train at the beginning of the movie, it would have removed the suspense of the characters not knowing who their targets or threats were, and it would have made a Channing Tatum cameo pretty pointless. But overall, there was so much damage happening that I had a hard time keeping my disbelief suspended. When the door is blown off the train or the glass on the back engine is shattered and no alarms go off and nobody seems the wiser, it breaks the premise, especially considering these trains are automated. We're left to assume that the White Death has paid off the train company or whomever, but it's just left open, and also doesn't explain the other passengers to begin with. We're left to assume reasons why the crew left the train prior to the last stop, as buying all the seats wouldn't relieve them of their work. In fact, it would imply that there are more customers coming and they'd have more need to be there if anything. We're left to assume why nobody, outside of the one angry lady in the quiet car, notices or cares that anybody is acting out of the ordinary, let alone dangerously. A line or two of dialogue could have fixed this problem by letting us know that the crew at the depot was paid off, or that the crew on board was working for the White Death, and was told to ignore anything they saw that night. Something. Anything. Now, I enjoyed this movie, liked the characters and actors, and had a good time, but the damage to the train and background actors being irrational set decorations hung me up a little bit too much. As such, I'm giving it a 4 of 5 stars. I liked it, and I'll watch it again, probably a few times. Cheers.